So as always, it's lovely to be here. So I just want to start with a couple of announcements. There has been a couple of last-minute cancellations to the retreat that's coming up in February in San Diego, and so the retreat is now open for 3 slots. So if anyone's interested, please sign up soon so that you can have a spot, and we'd love to have you. San Diego in February is a good place, good place to be, good place to be. So a couple spots open there. And if you're on the fence, I encourage you, just think about giving yourself a gift. Going inward and honoring yourself first and foremost. Too much in this life, we value our work, we value family and all the family stuff that we're supposed to do, especially this time of year with the holidays. And, it's nice just to honor yourself, to come back to your truth. That there's a beautiful thing that happens when you give yourself fully to yourself, to God, to life. You can actually show up in the world much more fully and completely. But if you're always, just running here and there, one obligation after the next, you end up burning up all your energy. And then we show up in the world depleted. We show up and we meet samsara from a place of samsara. And so I've always found it so important to just take some time to unplug completely from life. So if you're on the fence, give yourself the gift, and if it's not this retreat, just spend some time in nature and give yourself a retreat of some sort, a spa day, some days in silence, no computer, no internet, no phone. It's a beautiful gift, beautiful gift. Okay, what else do I have here? A big thank you, truly to everyone for all the donations and the support. It's really, really helpful as we upgrade the technology and we strive to bring forward quality content. And so truly thank you. It's really supportive in spreading the message. Also, for those of you who tune in after the fact on YouTube and social media, that kind of stuff, it's always helpful with social media search engines if you leave a little comment, say hi, hello. If you leave a question, I'm going to start looking at those comments more closely, and I'll do my best to answer them the following week. It's best if you do have a question, you can leave it in the comments in YouTube or Facebook or wherever. But if you're live, leave it in the Zoom chat section, and do that in the beginning, so I don't, normally I get a bunch of questions at the end. Show up with a question, that can be helpful. Anyways, so I think those are all of my announcements that I'm supposed to do. And so why don't we just take a moment, all of us, just to come together and just close our eyes, open our hearts, and to arrive fully here. And I encourage you to feel into the direct experience of here, of now, of this moment. And so whether you are in a big city, a quiet room, an apartment building, a condo, if you're out on the side of a mountain like I am, just feel the silence, even if there's sounds arising. Can you feel the silence? Can you experience the silence? Can you allow this silence wake you up to your eternal nature, to your essence. You're this dancing, radiant divinity that you are. And so, if any of you are in your heads right now, let's take a big backward step, not a little, but a big step, just away from the thoughts, whatever it is you think you need to be thinking about. And just let it all go. You come into your body, feel your feet on the floor, your bottom supported, your spine straight. And just notice this quiet aliveness, this supreme silence which is holding you, just holding all of us. And more as you breathe deeply and give yourself permission to let go into this silence, you begin to notice that silence is a very nurturing energy, embracing energy. You may even notice that your body, the physicality of your body, the aliveness of your body is made of this supreme silence. And if that seems silly or bizarre, I just invite you just to bring your awareness into your feet. Just notice how silent your feet are, just silently radiating with life. They're not complaining. They're not strategizing. They're not thinking about what your mother-in-law or father-in-law said, or, your Uncle Rico or whoever it is at the Christmas dinner. At your feet, they're just here, silent, radiating with a very subtle joy. Even smile, be like, oh wow, such a humble thing, my feet. An aspect of your consciousness. Can feel into your legs and your pelvis. And they're just so silent. We place so much attention on the thinking mind. Often ignore or avoid the rest of our being. And for some of you, I'm going to invite you just to relax those throat chakras. It's hard to get out of your head if that throat is clenched, if it's tight, it's guarded, it's defending. Just come down into your heart and just feel that softness, the energy of the little girl inside the little boy. This little presence, this little individual. Maybe feels like it has no gender at all, just this supreme innocence. And you smile a little bit. You smile, your dog's coming to say hi. A quiet breeze is coming to say hi. The sounds in the background are coming to say hi. Can you welcome the aliveness of this moment? The aliveness of your being. Just arrive here fully. And so we're just inviting the whole nervous system just to calm down, unhook from what I'll call the collective insanity Excuse me. Sometimes there's great insanity around us, in our family system, brothers, sisters, mom, dad, people at work, boss, co-workers, our partners. Sometimes there is insanity within our own mind. Just screaming, fighting, critical nature, overworking nature, habitual nature. And we're just inviting all the insanity, to take one of those, like you're at the mental hospital, take a Valium. But in this moment, that's a deep breath. And just invite all the voices to come to peace. Even the one who's feeling traumatized by life. Let her calm down. Let him calm down. You say, it's okay. We made it. We made it to the end of the year. We made it. We outlived whatever drama or chaos has arisen this last year. We've outlived it. So you can take a couple more deep, full breaths, just relaxing, smiling a little bit. And yeah, just coming down in the heart and feeling this quiet radiance, which is good. It's good. Just to notice that which is good about you. There's an innocence, a purity, a goodness, quiet strength that's outlived all the craziness of this last year. And of course, a supreme silence. Just witnessing all of life. And so you're welcome just to stay inward if you like. You're also welcome to open your eyes if you like. Just do whatever you feel is true. So I have a couple questions here, but one of the things I wanted to share about is just the last couple weeks have been really intense for a lot of people. The holidays can be very, very hard on a lot of people, and there's just such a collective belief that we have to do everything with our family, with our partner, have to go to all the holiday parties. And I worked for many years at a little holistic health center, and actually started the place. But every year we have a big Christmas party, and this year I got the invitation to come to the big Christmas party. There was going to be music and dancing and food and this and that, and it came, the night of the Christmas party, and there was something in me that just decided to stay home. And I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel ashamed. I didn't feel I, needed to give anyone an explanation. I just did what was true in my heart. And see, this is what the spiritual path is about you listening to your heart. You're doing what is good and true for you. And while that may sound like a very selfish thing, what you will find, and this took me many years to figure this out, but the more you listen to your heart, the more you follow your truth, the more you take care of yourself, like going on a trip to Hawaii, or whatever it is, that you do. When you show up in the world, you show up with more energy, more life, more love. My wife, she was speaking to me today, and we're speaking about religion. We were speaking about spiritual teachers, and she's always had this desire because she's a busy mother, and just a great mom, saint-like mother. A lot of mothers are just living saints, and they're just not given any credit. And then, of course, there's a lot of mothers who are mediocre. They're just trying to, just trying to survive and get by. And then, of course, there are some who, need to need to learn to love themselves before they start having kids. But not all of us have that good fortune. And so, but she had this question. She said, she was just asking me. She said, "What spiritual teachers do you know that have a family? That have a family." And I thought, well, I'm a spiritual teacher with a family, and in 2020, spirituality is really changing. It's becoming much more integrated than it was 2,000 years ago. The models that we had as teachers 2,000 years ago were, they were always celibate, men or women, almost always, not in every case, but almost always. And, there was a reason for that. It's much easier if you spend a lot of time alone, a lot of time in silence, a lot of time in meditation. If you don't have the constraints of family, it's easier to step into the truth, to establish yourself in the truth. When you're not trying to support 6 kids and your husband or wife and sister or brother, whatever it is, when you unplug from the world. And so most of us, we're not going to live a celibate path. And so this is why I always recommend retreat time. It's just so helpful. Retreat time, nature time, silence time. It's so helpful. So helpful. Because when we don't honor ourselves, when we don't take care of ourselves, when we don't make ourselves number one in a loving way, not in an arrogant, egotistical way, but in a loving way, if we don't do this, we tend to just get caught up in the collective struggle, the collective dance. We never make it past the Buddha's first teaching, which is life is dukkha. Life is suffering. Life is hard. Life is confusing and messy. If we don't unplug from the dukkha, if we don't unplug from suffering, from the busyness, it's easy to get lost, and that's what happens. That's why the world is the way it is. It's why it is the way it is. And so, one of the things I wanted to speak about tonight is just looking at this time of year. We're at the end of the year here. We're getting ready for the new year. And instead of all of us, looking in the mirror and saying, I'm going to lose 20 pounds and I'm going to start doing 8,000 push-ups a day or 8,000 squats or whatever it is that people commit to at the new year. Exercise is good. Diets are good. But what I would like you to look at is, if you look back over this last year, did you take enough time for yourself? Did you fall in love with yourself over this last year? Did you support yourself and nurture yourself over this last year? Did you take the time and heal over this last year? And if you're getting some yeses, I'm going to invite you to reflect on, how you feel now this year. Say on December 29th, as compared to January 1st of 2019. How do you feel? Do you feel lighter, more whole, more connected with God, with truth, with beauty, with the goodness and the radiance of your heart? Or did you spend this last year just being a good American, or whatever country you're living in, and work? Did you just work, work, work? Did you put yourself last or first? And then if you look at going forward in this next year, we're starting a new decade, 2020. My friend Suzanne told me today that this is the year of clear seeing. And I thought, what tradition did that come from? Like I was thinking, is that a Taoist thing, or is it a Buddhist thing, or the Chinese calendar, or whatever it is? And she said, no, 2020 vision. 2020 is the year of clear seeing. And so can you clearly look at your life this last year? And were you a habitual creature, a habitual animal, a good worker bee? Did you put your boss first and yourself last? Did you heal over this last year? And as we go into 2020, could you commit to greater healing? Can you commit to learning how to love yourself? Like, what do you need to do to love yourself more deeply? What are some of the things you need to change so you can love yourself more deeply? Do you need to move faster in life and get more stuff done? Or do you really need to move slower? I think all of us here on planet Earth, the whole Earth, needs to move slower. Slower. Sometimes I get in the habit of just being a busy father. I have a busy work life and a busy home life. And today was Sunday, and I found myself with a little bit of free time on my hands. I said, boy, I could go home and I could, hop on the computer and get some work done. But then I just looked up at the sky. Big blue sky above me. And I heard it just call out to me, come here. And so I found a little trail in town, hiked up the side of a mountain. And where I live, it's a harsh climate, but it's a really wonderful climate too. It's I'm on the edge of the desert in the mountains, and so I was hiking up this little mountain, and there was cactus and juniper tree, prickly pears, and all kinds of spiky cactus type plants covered in snow. These old junipers, and the bark is all withered, and the trees here, like the juniper trees, desert trees normally don't grow too big. They can be really old, hundreds of years old, and not very big. And I was just noticing the silent beauty of the juniper tree. And so I just stopped, just walking up the hike, and I just stopped. This tree just caught my attention. I felt its ridiculous strength that it had. Just such immense strength. And this old tree that was so beat up by life. It gets really baked in the summer and frozen in the winter, and we don't get so much water in the summer, so it has to really conserve its energy. I just felt this incredible Zen-like beauty arising from this tree. And I felt that its resiliency waking up my resiliency. And even though I actually got sick this last week, I felt this healing love come forward from the tree, this quiet strength, this resiliency, giving me strength, just radiating joy in my direction. So this coming new year, will you spend time in nature outside? The ocean, the beach, the river, or maybe it's just a little park in a big city. Maybe it's Central Park. Maybe it's a little mountainside. There's some great plains where you go out and let the trees hold you, let nature hold you. And I encourage you to go out there without your phone, without your device, without your, being plugged into all of humanity. Can you go out and just walk around a little bit and let nature wake you up? The incredible silence of life wake you up. Many of us, we're in relationship, and boy, if you're in relationship and you have a human thinking mind, that's just a hard thing. Men and women, they're so different, or couples can be so hard, even if you're same genders. It can be just so hard because we're really different creatures, each of us individually. And we bring forward these wounds, these struggles, these confusions, but when you go out in nature and you unplug from all of it, when you unplug from the critic, would you like to do that in 2020? Is unplug from your critic. Some people, it breaks my heart even to say this, but gosh, is it painful for even me to just think about it. Some people literally hate themselves. And gosh, it's hard for me to even say that out loud. It brings tears to my eyes, literally. If there is an ounce of self-hatred within you, can you learn to love that place, to heal that place, to investigate what is this about? Some of us can get strange and neurotic, like with our diets. When I was real young, I had this very strange, neurotic thing within my consciousness. And, I grew up in a military family, so everything in my world, we were valued if we were good workers. And I can remember I was going to college and, putting myself through college and working hard for my teacher and this and that. And, so I'd work like 40 hours a week and then go to school. And my body was really tired. It was just really exhausted. And I had this inner mantra that was, you can sleep when you're dead. I thought, oh my Lord, was that just a, a vicious thing to say to myself? And I used to starve myself, just because I had to save every penny. And like most evenings, I would literally eat for dinner a potato with salt. And I would drink water. Talk about, not taking care of oneself. And I slept on the ground, like the floor, like a monk. And my teacher had to work very hard to get me to honor myself, to love myself, to take care of this body. And so in 2020, a good question is, like, are you taking care of your body? And I don't mean, just diet and exercise. Diet and exercise is great. Excuse me. Very helpful to feed your body good foods. I always recommend a wholesome, organic, whole foods diet. I'm a health nut now. Um, and, good, healthy exercise, but you don't have to be, like a friend of mine is an ultra runner. We don't have to be an ultra runner. We don't have to make a goal to run marathons. That could be a whole neurotic dance. Can we just get outside and walk? And as you're walking, let it be a meditation. Let the exercise not be, I need to lose 20 pounds. But can you go out and walk and let the body exercise? Let it just naturally expel energy. Let go of samsara. It's very good if you're in relationship or family or whatever. You start having crazy thoughts about the partner. Go out and walk. Just let it empty out. If you're in trauma, I like the trauma dance, like you're really struggling with a lot of emotion and pain and sadness, it can be really helpful just to get outside and walk and just use the body. And show your body, I am strong. I am strong. I can walk. I can let go. Sometimes when we have lots of trauma, it can be helpful just to lay in bed and place a hand on your heart, hand on your belly, deep full breaths, breathing in I love you in the heart, and it's okay in the belly. I love you as you breathe in, and it's okay as you breathe out, just to relax the trauma, let it unravel, nurture the body. But then it's also good just to get out and walk a little bit. Let some of the energy just empty out. Clear the slate a little bit. Exercise is good for that. Excuse me. And so these are great questions to sit with is, do I love myself? Have I been kind to myself? Who do I need to forgive in 2020, this new year? Do I need to forgive myself? Do I need to forgive, my partner, my children? My brother or sister who was addicted to drugs or who suddenly died, passed away. And sometimes when we're young, father, brother, sister, mother dies and we hold it against them. One of the greatest gifts you can give to yourself and them is forgive them. Forgive them for dying. Forgive them for being human. For being human. Can you forgive yourself for being human? Can you step into your divinity in 2020? Can you step into your divinity more fully than you ever have before? It's a great challenge. Can you step into your divinity more than you ever have before? And so what would that look like? What might that look like to you to step more fully into your divinity? Normally, there's something big we have to let go of. What might that be for you? What might that be? And so I've asked a lot of questions here, and so I'll open it up, and I see there's a couple questions in the comments section. And so, if you have a question, bring it forward. But, before I move on, what I'm going to encourage you all to do is just to get yourself a little notebook, a journal, and, just see. Pick up the question, that I asked tonight that you resisted the most. Pick up the one that you casually just kind of let it blow on by. And you're like, oh yeah, I could love myself more, sure. You know, whatever it is that you've ignored for many years. You're like, forgiveness is a great one. Who do I need to forgive? What do I need to forgive within myself? What behaviors, actions, thoughts? Pick up a question and sit with it. Sit with it. So after the satsang, or, even right now, I encourage you to sit with it and start playing with it more deeply, inquiring into it. And you could sit with a question. One of the games I like to play with inquiry is just ask the same question over and over. Who do I need to forgive? I need to forgive my mom. Okay. And then just feel into that and sit with the pain. Sit with why she upset you, why she disturbed you, why she angered you. And sit with it fully. Feel the emotion of it, the sadness of it, the heartache of it, the anger of it. And let that anger unravel. Go on a walk and let it unravel. Give it a couple days and let it unravel. And then ask again, who do I need to forgive? Oh, I need to forgive Dad. And then we do the same thing with Dad or sister, brother, partner, whoever it is. Many of us need to forgive Mom and Dad. And I would say this, many of us, we play this silly game, where we move on too quickly in life without forgiving others. We say things, well, I'm an adult, they're an adult. Yeah, I had a terrible childhood, but whatever. Like, I'm just going to move on. I know they did the best they could do. But you'll notice when you go and hang out at that holiday dinner, you're showing up as your 13-year-old self again. Angry or rebelling, a little pissy or whatever it is. And so when we have these emotions come forward, when life mirrors that back to us, we realize, oh, I didn't forgive them. I haven't let go of this. I thought I moved on, but I have not. This is normally why people, they don't like hanging out with their family too much, because it brings up so much. And I'm not telling you need to hang out with your family, because sometimes it's good to let go of your family and set boundaries, especially if they've been, abusive to you, like literally abusive. But at some point, you can forgive someone even if you don't talk to them anymore. And you'll feel this weight lift from your consciousness. And then when you go out in nature, or when you sit down in meditation, or when you practice yoga, you'll find yourself so much more alive and vibrant and full, because you're not hanging on to something that happened to you in 1986. And so anyways, a lot of questions, a lot of things for reflection tonight, and I encourage you to pick some of them and sit with them. Okay. If anyone on Zoom has a question, feel free to, holler at me, type it in the chat, raise your hand, and I'll get to that. And let me look at the other questions I have. It's from Kate in California. Hi, Craig. Lately, I've had intense visual disturbances in my kundalini experience. It's not that I can't see, but my perception almost feels like I'm in another realm, not here, and it's not pleasant. Wondering if this is related to the third eye. There is some pressure there. Thank you. Yeah. Kate, so a good question for you to sit with, instead of me just giving you a quick answer, but a good question is, can I open to this new realm? Can I open to this new world and see what's there? See what it's about. So when you have the energy of Kundalini waking up in you and showing you some strange things, or simply, any kind of energy of spiritual awakening, I want you to imagine God has come to you and is showing you something. God is coming to you and showing you something. And sometimes, Jesus said this often in the Bible. He said these random phrases like, you'll see this and it will disturb you. And, of course, I don't know what the scripture was about in that moment, but I just like that he used this word. It will disturb you, because there are things that will come into your consciousness and you will feel disturbed. Normally, that's basically the carpet is being pulled out from the ego. The ground is being pulled out from the ego. So when we are on the spiritual path, I encourage you to let yourself be disturbed. When you're disturbed, it means you're stepping into a new world, a new realm. Now, I will say this, Kate, just a word of caution. If you start having all kinds of funny psychic stuff, just let it pass on by, because sometimes when the third eye opens, you get psychic stuff. You might start seeing the number 1111 or whatever it is. People trip all over that. You don't need to trip over that. If you start seeing angels and this type of thing, just see them, smile, but stay with your feet here on planet Earth. But I encourage you more to feel into the quality, the energetic quality of the realm that's opening up in you. Often with the third eye, there can be great expanse, great spaciousness. Sometimes it feels like a deep well. And often the unpleasantness is the ego losing control. But if you feel your feet on the ground, and if you get yourself rooted in nature, if you live in California, go out and dig some holes in the garden, plant some trees, plant some bushes, plant some bulbs. Get your hands in the earth and just get yourself here. Just notice, I am here, while simultaneously having this experience of whatever the energy is showing you. And let it show you. See if there's anything true there, anything good. Sometimes there's pressure and, strange sensations. The Buddha called all this phenomena. There would be pressure or tightness or tension or releases. Just step into the witness and let it all flow on by. And be with what remains in the end. It's okay to be with your fundamental innocence, your fundamental goodness. Be with what remains. And if there's something good there, keep what's good. And by keep it, I mean step into it, honor it, live it, embody it. The third eye is a wonderful realm. And in the realm of the third eye is vast spaciousness, intuitive wisdom, clarity, consciousness of the witness, the consciousness beyond the witness. That's a whole other thing. But all these things will be disturbing to the ego because it's a new world. A new world. Okay, so you just play around with that and just see what comes. But trust, trust, trust. Okay, here's a question from Rich in Dublin. Hi, Craig. Over the last 6 months, another Kundalini question here. Kundalini has been unbelievably intense for me. I fear everything. I sit open-mouthed at how much fear there is, traumatized by the trauma that emerges. I'm in a place now where I feel like I've seen too much and that I can never function in the world again. Okay, and so here I'm gonna stop you, Rich. So oftentimes with the ego, when we feel like it's been too much, the first thing the ego says is, I cannot function. There's too much. And if you look at the deeper need of the ego, the deeper need of the body, the deeper need of the nervous system, the deeper need of the soul. So the ego speaks in shallow terms. Like people oftentimes they contact me and they say, Craig, I want to kill myself. I want to jump off a bridge. I want to die. And that's the shallow egoic understanding of what's going on. They just want to end it. It's too much. But if you look at the deeper need, say with something, as intense as suicide, it's, I need peace. I need peace. I just need some peace and calm. So when your body is telling you, I can't function, your body's telling you like, I'll tell you what I told my daughter who's in college. Why don't you take a gap year? I love it that young kids came up with this new idea, a gap year. What is that? So you're done with high school, and then you just take a year off, and you just go play, explore, maybe just sit on the couch, maybe just spend some time in nature, maybe just spend time healing and growing. Take a gap year. A gap year. So if you have a lot of trauma, Rich, take a gap year. And the ego will almost always complain. It will say, excuse me, I'm not functioning. I'm not producing. We've all been trained way too well in our culture just to work, work, work. And we take our work life, our career, our finances way too seriously. Way too seriously. I spent many years working for my teacher, just making barely any money. I had friends off making tons and tons of money, millions of dollars, and doing all kinds of stuff. And what was I doing? I was on the side of the mountain, making $8 an hour, digging holes for my teacher, and building retreat houses. Or, after we built the retreat houses, then I was carrying suitcases for old ladies when they were coming on retreats and fixing toilets and all kinds of silly stuff. But I was just letting my nervous system calm down. I was connecting with peace. I was connecting with the Dharma. So Rich, your body's telling you if it's unfunctionable, that's probably not a word. If you're having trouble functioning in the world, your body, your nervous system's just telling you, I need some time. Take some time. And if that means you spend your retirement now, then do that. Do that. Be wise with your money. Don't go out and buy a new car and try to heal. Just focus on healing. For many years I drove what was that car? Like a 92 Tercel wagon. I think I had 3 different Toyota Tercels, because I could buy one for $700, and some of them even had 4-wheel drive, which is what I needed to get out to my teacher's house. And so I just drove old cars. I used to have girlfriends, and they get in my car, they'd laugh out loud at this car I was driving. I say, hey, sweetie, like, it goes, it works. Like, I don't need to buy a Porsche Cayenne. I don't need a big house. I need to heal. And so, Rich, your body's telling you need to heal. Kate, if you're feeling disturbed, your body's telling you need to get grounded. Grounded in trust, So, Rich goes on to write a little bit here. It is as if Richard.exe, I'm not sure what the .exe is, broken at a quantum level, and there is no way back. Richard, there is definitely a way forward. There's a way forward. We don't go backwards on the path. We don't go backwards. Even if the intensity goes, I realize I mourn the world and the identity and identify with the struggle now I find myself in. Oh, this is a really good point here. This is a mistake that many people make on the path. They identify with the struggle. So the Buddha's first teaching, life is dukkha. Life is a struggle. If we identify with the struggle, that is a ticket for suffering. It's just like a guaranteed. If we identify with a struggle, we will suffer. We'll stay there. We'll kind of spin. That's what the Buddha called the wheel. Samsara, we just spin. If we identify with the struggle, you stay there. I've even wished to go back to the period where I was unaware of the depth of my pain. Again, my friend, you cannot go back, only forward. At least I was good at fooling myself and could leave the house. Do you have any tips for those of us in this stuck place? Yes. Richard, you need to identify with your goodness, your innocence, your strength, your power, your trust. Can you trust in your ability to heal? That you are a child of the Most High. If you identify with being a victim, that freezes you on the path. And I will tell you this, when you identify with being a victim, you freeze yourself. And if you look at what object in your house takes the most energy, it's the freezer. The refrigerator and the freezer, it takes a tremendous amount of energy. It's the bulk of your energy bill is your freezer. It just takes a lot of energy. And spiritually, it takes a tremendous amount of energy as well. Tremendous amount of energy. If you freeze anything within your consciousness, you will greatly struggle and you will stay stuck. And so in order to become unfrozen, you may have to take a gap year. A gap year. And by that, I mean you unplug, you unhook from life, and you focus on healing. And that may look like, and that doesn't mean you need to quit your job, but working from home, working remotely, where you're not spending 2 hours a day in a car, you're not going out to whatever people do, go to dance clubs and chasing this and that. Maybe it means you're not in relationship, but you are 100% in relationship with yourself and with God, with life. And you commit and you say, no, I am not stuck. I am healing. 2020 is the year I will heal. 2020 is not the year I will stay frozen. 2020 is the year I will heal and discover my strength. So when we have a lot of trauma, we need to do trauma work. Trauma therapy, somatic therapy, body work, acupuncture, spa days, hiking in nature, laying in bed and just holding your heart and your belly. You need to commit to healing. And I went through my healing crisis. I committed to healing for, hell, I don't know how many years, but it was 2 years almost on the couch and with working sporadically because I had a couple mouths to feed. But, you just focus on you loving you. But I want you to imagine this, Richard. The victim inside needs the adult you, who is the true nature you, not the adult ego, but the adult soul, your true nature, needs to take charge. Because if your inner child is in suffering and is in pain and is in confusion, and your inner child's looking at the adult and the adult says, I'm never going to heal. I'm screwed. I want to go backwards on the path. It's like growing up in a house where you're a child and your parents are children. You never grow up. No one grows up in a house like that. But if you have parents who are adults and who are healthy and who are sane, they take charge of your healing. They take charge of nourishing you, honoring you, loving you. Then you have a great chance at healing. And so the adult you, the true nature you, needs to rise to the occasion and say, I'm committed to healing in 2020. Okay, so beautiful here, beautiful. Okay, as always, everyone's throwing me a bunch of questions at the end here. So here's just a comment from Kate. Richard, in my kundalini experience, and she's been where you are, the overwhelming fear. If you'd like to connect with me, I am here. Kate and Richard, I'll do my best to connect the two of you. Okay, here's a question. Some days I feel numb, being praying to God. I think that means been praying to God, it passes soon. numb, and sometimes extremely skeptic. I've never experienced this. Makes me feel somehow stuck. Any suggestions? Yes, that's a beautiful question. So there'll be many times on the path when you will feel numb, stuck. And again, the Christian faith does something good. They have a good response to this. It's you just keep showing up. You keep showing up. And the way, good Christians look at this is oftentimes our faith is being challenged. And by challenge, it's being strengthened. And so I want you to imagine this. I want you to imagine God is here, but you can't hear the voice of God. You don't feel radiance in your heart. And so in that moment, you have the opportunity to take a leap of faith, which will build your faith, build your trust, build your strength. Or you can do what an ego will do and say, I'm not getting any feeling. I don't feel any juice from God. I don't feel any love. I'm going to hop on Instagram. I'm going to watch lots of TV. I'm going to see what's on Netflix. I'm going to go back to my addictive nature. I'm going to, some egos will turn it upon themselves, say God doesn't love me and start attacking oneself, or think that God has abandoned them or something like that. All of these are dangers when you come into the numbness, into the void. But what God is wanting is, can you keep showing up? There has been many times on the path where it seemed like God has disappeared. And my response is, I keep showing up. Meditate every day for an hour. Keep doing the yoga. Yoga is one of the quickest things to break you out of the numbness. Yoga and any kind of divine exercise, like spiritual dance, Sufi dancing, singing, deep heartfelt prayers, going on a pilgrimage, these types of things. Listening to like bhakti music, Krishna Das, this type of music, which inspires the soul. Sometimes it can just lift you out a little bit. But commitment is a beautiful thing. Okay, so one last question here before we're done. And I'll try to be quick here because we're at the end. Craig, could you talk about working with a ridiculous amount of fear? Yes. One of the things I love to do with fear is to take fear out of my vocabulary and call fear excitement. If you look at the energy of fear and the energy of excitement, they are very much the same. Transform fear turns into excitement. And if you sit with fear incredibly, in a very quiet, intimate way, you may notice on the surface level screaming like a terror, like, like I sat for many months and it felt like 10,000 screaming children were arising in my consciousness. It was just, oh boy, was it a horrific thing. And as I sat with it more and more, and as I listened deeply, I didn't buy into the belief that something bad was happening, because I looked around and I noticed, in a very Zen-like way, nothing bad is happening. I am safe. So we cross that off the list. I'm safe. And then feel the energetic presence of fear, the transmission of fear, the vibrational frequency of fear. And I noticed, my Lord, this thing that I called fear, that I called terror, like adjunct terror, is pure radiance, pure brilliance, pure divinity. Just like screaming fear, screaming excitement, It's one and the same. One and the same. Open, 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 open. The ego is afraid to open to that which is greater than itself. And fear is the doorway to that which is greater. It always is. Like, it's very rare that we're being eaten by a mountain lion. I was on a trail today and the sign said, watch out for mountain lions. If you see a mountain lion, here's what you do. Put your hands up high and make some noise, And it's very rare that you're going to get eaten by a mountain lion. It's very rare that you're going to be attacked. It's very rare that we have anything actually to be afraid of. Open to the fear, become intimate with it, fall in love with it, and see that it is an expression of brilliance calling you into something greater. Taylor, you are a holy man, and God is trying to show you a new world. Walk through the doorway and see what's there. Thank you all so much for your questions. Thanks for putting up with me as I went a couple minutes over. Thank you for your donations. And if you want to join us on the retreat, hurry up and sign up, please, soon. 3 spots are open, and those will go quickly. May peace be with you all, and have a wonderful night. Happy New Year. I will be having a meditation Wednesday night, so I look forward to having you Wednesday night. That's New Year's Day. May peace be with you. Good night. Good night, everyone.